Hey guys, I welcome you all to the day 7 of SQL series. This session is conducted by an expert having more than 15 plus years of industry experience. Now let's see the agenda of the day. Firstly, we will begin with SQL Stored Procedures. Post that, we will be learning about views in SQL. Then later on, we will tell you how to handle exceptions in SQL. So guys, this is the agenda of the video.
So before moving on with the session, please subscribe to our channel.
And also hit the bell icon for the upcoming updates from our channel. And also, if you enjoy our content, you can leave a like.
So a stored procedure is basically a prepared SQL code which we can save so that the code can be reused again. So if we have an SQL query that we write over and over again, we can save it as a stored procedure and then just call it whenever we want. Now let's have a look at the syntax of the stored procedure. So we'll give the keywords create, procedure, and then give the procedure name. After that, we'll give the keyword as, and then give the SQL statement for which we need to create the procedure. And we'll end the procedure with the go keyword. Now, after we create a procedure, we need to execute it. So this is the syntax to execute the procedure. We'll type exec and then give the name of the procedure which is to be executed. So let's go to SQL Server and work with some procedures. So now I'd want to create a procedure which would help me to easily access this EH column from the employee table. So I'll type create procedure and then I'll give the name of the procedure which would be employee age. I'll type as and then give the SQL statement which would help me to access this EH column. That would be select EH from the name of the table is employee and then I'll give the go keyword. Now I'll hit execute. Right, so we see that we have successfully created the employee age procedure. Now I will use the exec keyword and then call this procedure. So the name of the procedure is employee age. I'll select this line, I'll hit execute. Right. So with this employee age procedure, we can easily access the EH column from the employee table. Now similarly, I'll create another procedure which would help me to access all of the records from the employee table. Create procedure and I'll name this procedure as employee details. I'll follow it up with the as keyword and then give the SQL statement which would help me to access all of the records from the employee table. Select star from employee and again I'll finish this procedure off with the go keyword. I'll select all of this, I'll hit execute. So again we have successfully created the employee details procedure. Now to call this procedure, I'll use the exec command and then pass in the name of the procedure which is employee details. So I'll select this, I'll hit execute. Right. So with the help of employee details procedure, we can easily access all of the columns and all of the records from this employee table. Now we can also pass parameters to the procedure. So the syntax for this is just slightly different. Here after giving the procedure name, we follow it up with the list of parameters and their corresponding data types. So let's create a procedure with a parameter now. So now I'll create a procedure which would help me to access the male employees and the female employees separately from this employee table. Create procedure and I'll name this procedure to be employee gender. After this I will pass in the parameter. So the name of the parameter would be gender and it is of variable length character with a maximum length of 20. I will give the as keyword after this and then pass in the statements which would help me to individually access the male employees and the female employees. Select star from the name of the table is employee. I'll follow it up with the where clause and give the condition. So this time the condition would be gender is equal to @gender. Now let's understand this properly. So here gender is basically this column and we are passing in the value of this parameter to this column. So let's say when we call this procedure and the value is female, then we'll get all of the female employees. And similarly, if the value is male, then we'll get all of the male employees. Now let me finish off this procedure with the go keyword. Right, so we have successfully created this employee gender procedure. Now let me go ahead and execute this procedure. So I'll type exec and then give the name of the procedure which would be employee gender. And now let's say I would want all of the male employees. So I will give in the parameter name @gender, and I will give in the value which would be equal to male. So let me execute this now. Right, so I've got all of the male employees from the employee table. Similarly, if I wanted all of the female employees from the employee table, this would be the command for that. Execute. I will give in the name of the procedure, which would be employee gender. I will give the name of the parameter, which would be @gender, and then pass in the value. So this time I would want all of the female employees, so the value would be female. I'll select this, I'll hit execute. Right. So this time we've got all of the female employees from the employee table. So this is how we can work with stored procedures, either with parameters or without parameters in SQL.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides online SQL training in partnership with Microsoft. The course link of which is given in the description below. Now, let's continue with the session.
So views are virtual tables which are used to limit the information that we want to display. And these are actually nothing but the result of an SQL statement which have a name associated with them. For example, from this employee table, let's say we wanted to perform multiple operations on the records where the gender is female. So we can create a view for only the female employees from the entire employee table. So let's have a look at the syntax to create a view. We'll start off by using the keywords create view, then give the name of the view. After which we'll give the keyword as, and then give the list of the columns which you want to select from the table. So let's actually create a view from our employee table. So I don't create a view which would comprise of only the female employees from the entire employee table. So this would be the command for that. Create view, then I'll give the name of the view, which would be female employees. After that, I will give in the keyword as, and I will select all of the columns from the employee table. So select star from employee. Then using the where clause, I will give in the condition. So the condition would be gender is equal to female. So I'll put a semicolon over here. I'll hit execute. So you see that commands have been completed successfully. So now let me have a glance at the female employees view. Select star from, I'll give the name of the view, which would be female employees. I'll put a semicolon, hit execute. Right? So we see that we have successfully created a view from the employee table. And in this view, we have only two records which comprise of the employees, Anne and Julia, and both of them are obviously female. Now let's see how can we drop a view. So the syntax for dropping a view is pretty simple. All we have to do is give the keywords drop view and then give the name of the view. So let me drop this female employees view. I will type in drop view and then I will give in the name of the view, which is female employees. I'll put a semicolon, execute. So again, commands have been completed successfully. So now let me see if the view exists or not. Select star from female employees, execute, and this is the result which we get. Invalid object name female employees, and we get this because the view female employees has been dropped. So this is how we can work with views. So an error condition during a program execution is called as an exception, and the mechanism for resolving such an exception is known as exception handling. And we can do exception handling in SQL with the help of try-catch blocks. So the try statement allows us to test a block of statements while they're being executed, and the catch block allows us to handle any exception which occurs in the try block. Now let's have a look at the syntax of the try-catch block. So we'll give the keywords begin, try, and then give the statements which are to be tested. After that, we'll end the try block and begin the catch block. And inside the catch block, we'll either print the error or roll back the transaction. And we'll end the catch block as well. So let's go to SQL Server and do some exception handling. So I'll be declaring two variables and divide one of the variables with 0. So this needs to give us divided by 0 exception. So let's go ahead and handle this exception now. So we can declare a variable in SQL by using the declare statement. So I'll type declare and then use the @ symbol to declare a value. And I'll name this variable as val1, and this is of integer type. Similarly, let me go ahead and declare the second variable. I'll type declare @ and the name of this variable is val2, and the data type is integer again. Now I'll begin the try block. I'll type begin try, and then inside this I will set the values for both value1 and value2. So I'll use the set keyword, and then the value which I'll be assigning to val1 is 8. I'll put semicolon. Similarly, let me assign something to val2 as well. So set @val2. Now inside val2, what I'll basically do is divide val1 with 0. So now this statement should basically give us the error. So when we divide any integer value with a 0, we'll get an indefinite value. So this is the statement which will be giving the error. Now I will end the try block and try. Right. Now after this, we'll begin the catch block. Begin catch, and inside the catch block, I will just print out the error which occurred in the try block, and I will display the default error message. And I will end the catch block as well. So let me hit execute now. So the default error message which you get is divide by 0 error encountered. So what we basically did with the set of statements was we encountered an error within the try block, and we handled that error inside the catch block. So inside the catch block, we sent a default error message, and the default error message was divide by 0 error encountered. Now we can also create user-defined messages. So let's go ahead and create some user-defined messages. And for that purpose, I'll be doing exception handling on top of the employee table. So let me actually have a glance at the employee table first. Select star from, the name of the table is employee. Right, so we have this employee table right in front of us. So now what I'll do is I'll try to add the salary column and the name column. Now the problem with this is we cannot add a numerical column with a string value. So let's handle this exception. So I'll type begin try, and then I will give the select keyword, and I will try to add salary column with the name column, and I want this from the employee table. I will end the try block. After this, I need to begin the catch block. So begin catch. Now inside this, I will print a user defined message. So print, and I would want to print cannot add a numerical value with a string value. I will end the catch block as well. After this, I will give the go statement. Let me hit execute. So this is the message which we get. Cannot add a numerical value with a string value. And we got this user defined message because we had encountered an error inside the try block. So this is how we can do exception handling in SQL.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides online SQL training in partnership with Microsoft. The course link of which is given in the description below.
Okay guys, we've come to the end of this session. I hope this session was helpful and informative for you. If you have any queries, leave a comment down below.
Thanks for watching.